Hello. Hello, this is Grouthead, and I wanted to talk today about Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is the reality show star that you might know from popular shows like The Apprentice, and he also did a couple of cameos on the World Wrestling Federation show they had there. Now, he started out as a kid there, whose dad gave him $1 million. And here's the thing: is I'm like I'm kind of a modest person myself, and there's a pretty good chance that in my lifetime I might not earn $1 million. And a lot of people won't really earn $1 million in an entire lifetime of tax-paying. I don't want to fuss around about it, but it's just kind of the reality, Hello, Grouthead here. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is a former reality show star. He starred in such shows as The Apprentice, and he also had a couple of cameos for the fine folks over there at the World Wrestling Federation. Now, here's the thing: he's just like you and me. He grew up, and when he was a young kid, his dad gave him $1 million. Now, here's the thing: that seems like a lot of money, but I'm kind of a modest individual, and to be honest, there's a good chance that I might not even earn $1 million in my entire lifetime, and a lot of people might not. But the thing is he's had a rough go at it, and he didn't have to go fight in the war because he had a bone spurs, and the thing is those bone spurs were probably caused from him carrying around that $1 million, probably. But I don't think he had many blisters on his hands, from doing the real hard work that a lot of Americans do every day. Now, I don't know if you've heard, if you've been watching the news, but he actually somehow got elected President of the United States. Now, I have no idea how this happened, but the thing is he's giving orders to people with that are a lot smarter and a lot more, they're more accomplished, I guess you could say. And it's just kind of a little bit of an abstraction, and it's hard for me to kind of wrap my head around. Now, Donald Trump, who we're talking about today, he has kind of the temperament or the kind of maturity level of a teenager, And so there's a pretty good chance that he's actually in the Oval Office, sitting behind the desk, and he's tweeting. He's got his thumbs out. He's got his phone tipped sideways, and he's got his thumbs out. Like a teenager. And the thing is if you upset him and if you make him grumpy, he tends to kind of flail around like a toddler or something. And kind of like you ever see the toddler? They start to they throw their plastic dump truck because they're mad. Because Mommy says they can't have any more sugary goblins, that type of thing. Well, the thing is that's kind of what's going on with him. But the thing is he's kind of in control of the country. So it's a little horrifying. Now, I honestly think that, like I say, I haven't lived, his hard, going up, uphill, life. I haven't had to struggle like he has, but I'm imagining that he hasn't got a lot of actual wisdom as far as character that most people would get from, I guess, struggles in life. I don't think he really is really tuned into that. That's a frequency that he probably doesn't detect very well. And because of that, I think that he's kind of a little out of touch with what people are really going through. For an example, we had a hurricane come through and kind of rip up Puerto Rico there, and he's like, well, geez, can't you guys, go just ask your dad for $1 million. I mean, what the hell? I mean, how can it be so complicated, I just think that he might not really have the problem-solving skills that most people who have had to actually solve problems might have. Now, another thing is credit. Now, here's the thing. I don't have good credit, and it's not because I was irresponsible. It's because I never used credit. But I know that if I did borrow money, I would definitely try to pay that back. And Mr. Donald Trump, who just happens to be the president of the United States, has borrowed a lot of money in his life, and then not really, paid it back, which is like, I guess, Daddy says it's okay, I think. I'm pretty sure that the Daddy said it was okay, and here, have another $1 million and try not to skin your knee walking over to get some cotton candy over there, you fucking piece of shit. Oh, sorry. Another thing is I think that Mr. Trump, Donald Trump we're talking about here, the President of the United States, I think he's a little racist. He hasn't really grown up in a neighborhood where, people set up like baseball in the alley and, and kind of, had kind of a neighborhood where there were other ethnicities around. I think that he probably, grew up on his daddy's plantation, probably taking care of the stacks of money, and so he hasn't really been exposed to that, culture, I guess, which is crazy because he's kind of got some real estate developments in like New York. But yet he's always kind of looked like he's always probably thought of it as he owns those things. Therefore, the people that live in them, he owns them also. He's kind of a little bit of a narcissist. He's a little bit of an egotist. You don't tell him he's not doing a good job because that's not how Daddy would want it. And you don't want him to get angry because he might start flailing around and the next thing you know, we're all speaking Chinese or something, what the hell can you do, I think that the fact that he somehow became president, was elected president of the United States is I think it's caused from frustration. I think that a lot of people, especially in the middle of the country where there wasn't a lot of coal mine jobs and there's a lot of, nobody really has the money to go to the dentist or to, get that Trans Am up off on blocks off of their front yards. They just don't have the money and they're grumpy and they're looking for somebody to take it out on, and, and they're probably, again, in these communities where there's not a lot of culture around. There's not a lot of, like, people of other ethnic, backgrounds. More in a major city, you have kind of a melting pot, And so I think because of that, these people, like, they saw that there was an African-American president in office, and they're like, well, we got to blame it on, we got to blame it on the black guy, the president. Always blame it on the president, And the thing is, no president's perfect, and a lot of times if shit is like not going right, the president, as far as the country's concerned, is the one to blame. But when the president's black, man, you haven't had that kind of cultured environment you've grown up in. Well, it's automatically got to be the black president, and because of that, people got, due to frustration. I honestly, I still to this day don't know how in the hell he ended up in the Oval Office, but I think we're all kind of fucked, I mean, the thing is, they got to get him out of there because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't mean to keep using expletives and stuff, but he doesn't really know what the hell he's doing. I don't think he's not well read. I think that he doesn't know anything about anything. I mean, they need to get. here's what we need to do. The 25th Amendment, which is in the Constitution, we need to enact that 25th Amendment because I don't think he's mentally fit to really run the country. Every time I turn on the news, it's breaking news, and it's kind of him flailing around, and everybody else in the White House is trying to kind of contain him and be like, Mr. Trump, you need some time out. You need to go to time out. Just relax a little bit. Dare he get his ego pinched at all? He has a very, very fragile ego, which most people that were kind of like spoon-fed, if you will, and kind of like handed $1 million and never really had to, the concept of making their own decisions and having to learn and having to struggle through life, person like that might be prone to a little bit of a little bit of mood swings when things don't go just their way, And I think he's kind of like, kind of fits into that category of, wait a minute, Daddy doesn't want it this way. Wait a minute, I live in a tower, like I'm a son of privilege. How dare anybody tell me how it is? But the fact is, you didn't take that money and that free time and really teach yourself much about life. You just started buying up possessions and owning things, which translated to owning people, and now you probably feel like you own everybody. Oh, it's got to be wonderful. But what the fuck about us? The hell are we supposed to do? I don't know. I think in the back of a lot of people's mind, they're entertained by this. But it's not a reality show. It's not a fucking game. Real people are getting hurt here. And eventually you're going to piss off little Rocket Man. Because he's going through the same thing you are, Mr. Trump. He's going through the exact same thing you are. He's a little grumpy little child too, just like you are. You ever seen a couple of 5-year-olds fighting over a toy? I tell you, there's a lot of screaming and yelling. They start crying, and next thing you know, snot's coming out of their nose and getting all over the goddamn Davenport. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I don't know what to do about any of this, and I don't like to talk politics too much. All I can tell you is it's kind of horrifying. It's a little bit horrifying having this guy, Mr. Donald Trump, who's a reality show star, who by all means has just got hands at everything, has never really had to. He fucking has zero dirt under his fingernails. And then he borrows money for his real estate developments and then doesn't pay people back. Then he doesn't pay taxes, and then he gets his hands all over pussies and just automatically assumes everything's his. He's a spoiled little whiny fucking baby, How the hell is he running the country? Jesus Christ. I don't know. Well, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, let me know how you feel. I heard a chime. I think there's more breaking news going on upstairs. CNN's on. I just can't, it's like I honestly think a lot of people are entertained by this, but it's not a fucking game. It's horrifying. Jesus, I don't know what to do, but nobody does. Well, hopefully Robert Mueller can speed up that investigation. Get him out of office that way. But I honestly do feel like we need to enact the 25th Amendment, because I feel like this guy's out of control. He's about to have a tantrum unlike any other tantrum, in the annals of history, Anyway, I'll see you guys later.